What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we are hunting a bunch of customer wrap change. So I've had a real hard time these last 2 weeks getting $50, and I ran out of time last week to run around bank to bank. So today, this is Saturday, I stopped by one of my local Wells Fargos, and I just so happened to get there as a little old lady was dropping off $390 worth of wrapped quarters. So I bought that $390. I had them add $110 from the other tellers. So that's what this box is right here. This all came from one Wells Fargo. And I stopped at another one, and they were able to give me 10 rolls of each denomination. So we will get today in our hunt to do $600 worth of quarters. I think this is $5 worth of pennies. What is this? This is $20 worth of nickels. It's 10 rolls. This is $50 worth of dimes. I can't do the math that fast. And of course, we already talked about these quarters. So what I think we're going to do is probably start with the dimes, because I think that'll go the fastest. We will then do the nickels, the pennies, and we will end with the quarters, because that's what we have the most of to hunt. And it'll be a lot of fun. And as I do each denomination, we will take a small little break to talk about what it is we're looking for and why we're looking for it, and just sort of the thoughts that go through my head as I'm hunting this change. So let me get this stuff broken down, and we're going to jump right into it. So we are going to go ahead and jump into these dimes first. As for what I'm looking for, I do have a document in my description down below, and I have it in the description of all of my coin roll hunt videos. That is just a Google Doc that lists out all of the errors, varieties, years that they're silver, just anything you might want to look for when you hunt each denomination of coin. And it's all in one document, so it's really easy to get. Download it, print it. It's yours to keep. I've actually put it together from various mats I've seen around the internet to listings that I've researched myself through Google. Mainly today, I hate hunting dimes, so we are mainly going to edge hunt these for proofs. Anything really shiny maybe we want to look at, but mainly silver. And silver is really easy to find because it'll have a nice silvery or gray line in it. But before we jump into that, I did want to point out that whenever I get customer rolls, before I open anything, I like to weigh them to kind of have an idea of, am I going to be short coins? Am I going to be heavy coins? Or is it going to be just over enough on the weight that it could be interesting? So a dime weighs 2.268 grams, and a roll of 50 dimes should weigh about 113.4 grams. Add on the paper, you should be around 114 grams, give or take, right? So if I put these on the scale, we'll do a couple. Here's 113.6. Maybe we've got a couple of worn dimes in there, but that's fair. 114.3, again, fair. Could have some dirty dimes. Like 117, 118.2, this is probably either got some silver in it, some foreigns in it, or it's probably got 2 or 3 extra dimes in it. And maybe this roll will open on camera and we'll count them and see if I'm right. So let me put this one aside. I'll put this one over here. But I like to do this with all of my coins, or all of my rolls when they're customer wrapped, just because I want to know up front, am I going to get some slighted rolls, or am I going to get some good, normal rolls to hunt through? If they're off by a gram or half a gram, it could be silver, it could be foreign, it could be dirty coins, it could be lint in the wrapper, right? You just don't know till you open them. So with that said, we'll do this one first on camera, and the rest I'll probably hunt off camera, and if I find anything interesting, I'll bring you guys in. But I just wanted to show you that process. I'm going to do that for all of my coins. I may not do it on camera, but I'll be sure to let you know if I've got heavy ones or light ones or what have you. So let's do this one first. And I am terrible about opening dimes just in general and keeping them stacked. So I will do my best. There we go. So if we edge hunt this on the side, I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera. Looks like we have a lot of new dimes. I don't see anything jumping out as silver, except maybe these two are just probably put together just right to look like silver. Come on. Well, that's 4. So that is it's not silver, it's like an 84. That's my other problem, is my eyes are getting old. That's like a 2008. I'm gonna have to get my scope out. That's an 07, so definitely not silver. So let's see, do a quick count. That's 4. There's 5. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, almost overcounted there, 40, 45, there is 50. So on roll number 1, we are already up 20 cents. That roll was stuffed with too many dimes. So I'm going to move on to the next rolls, and I'll give these a quick look as I spread them out on the mat to see if there's anything really nice looking in there. But I'll move on to these other rolls and bring you guys if anything looks interesting. We're on roll number 5, and surprise, surprise, this roll, when I weighed it, weighed 114.3. Let me zoom in here a little bit. I got down to the end of the roll because I didn't see it when I first laid it in my hand. It's kind of tough to see, but right there, we got a little streak with no copper line in it. And it is a 1940, it's a 1940 Philadelphia. The mint mark usually is on the back. Silver dime. So we got 1 silver in our customer wrap dime so far. So far, I think I'm also just up those 2 extra dimes, but I'll do a count at the end to be sure, but who cares? This is like a $2 or $3 dime right here. So we'll put that up. First find of all of our customer change. Awesome. So for a quick wrap up on the dimes, we did okay. We ended up with 6 extra dimes. So we're up 60 cents on the box, or on the 10 rolls. And we found a 1940 90% silver dime. I will take that all day long. So we are now going to move on to, let's see here, the nickels. And we do have a nickel book. Let me back this out a little bit. We do have a nickel book that we are filling, and if we find anything that looks like it's a hole filler, I will bring you guys in for it. I'm going to weigh these as well, and if it looks like we've got any heavy rolls, I'll let you know and probably bring you in to open that 1 roll. So let me get to it, and if we find anything interesting, you'll be the first to know. So we've got everything weighed up, and I just wanted to show you guys, this is a unwrapped Loomis roll, and it looks like it's going to be a uncirculated roll, or a circulated roll, which will be fun. We get 1 bank wrapped roll. You'll see here it weighs, and hopefully that's showing up on the camera. I'll zoom in here just so you guys can see. That's about 200 grams for a bank wrapped roll. That includes the wrapper. Now, all the rest of these that I weighed, like I'll show you this one, we came out around 200.3, 200.6, somewhere in there. But I do have 2 that probably have 1 extra nickel in them. So a nickel weighs 5 grams according to the book, but of course there's wear and tear on these. So 204.8, that puts us into extra nickel territory. And then I have 1 here that weighs 195.8. So that could be we're down a nickel, or it's possible maybe there's a dime or 2 stuffed in here to go with it. So we're going to start with these 2 rolls. We'll do those on camera, just kind of dump them out real quick so you guys can have a look. So we'll start, I think this one was the light one. Let's start with this one. And zoom in here a little bit so you guys can see. So nothing looks silvery. I don't have anything small in there, so let's just do a quick count. There's 5, 35, and we are 4. So we have 39 in that roll. And I will go back through these for dates to see what we have. And let's do, we said this one was the heavy one, so we're probably going to have 41 nickels in here, which means we're on a wash for these 10 rolls of nickels, which is going to be very nice. See something toned in there. It could possibly be silver. So again, I don't see, nothing looks small, so we don't have any dimes in there. That just looked funny. That was a different color. Quick count. That's 40, and we got 1 extra. So we ended up making out, I'll put that in that stack, and here's our first 2 rolls. I will go through them, and if we find anything interesting, I will be sure to bring you in. Okay, I wish I was kidding. This is a reenactment, but I took this first stack and just threw it out like this, and wouldn't you know it, we ended up with a buffalo nickel. It is dateless. I may nick a date that to see what we have. Let me see if there's a mint mark. There is no mint mark, so we have a dateless buffalo nickel, but I will take that all day. I love me some buffalo nickels. I do have a buffalo nickel book, and I will nick a date that and see if it's a hole filler. Pretty cool. First roll, it was heavy because it had an extra nickel, and it had a buffalo. That's fantastic. So we're on roll number 5. We've been through most of the roll, and I did come across an oldie. A 1939. Looks like it's a pretty beat up and scratched up filly. I know this one has, at least I believe it has. Give me a second, let me look. There is a DDO, a DDR, and a QDR. Let me get this under the scope and see if I see any of that. Well, this coin's pretty beat up, and the typical thing we look for is doubling down here on the words 5 cents or Monticello or Monticello, depending on how you want to say it. And I do not see any of that doubling here on this one. So just a regular 1939 filly. We are on the last roll, and I did come across another oldie. We have a 1948. Now, I do need a 1948S for my book, so let's see if we get lucky. Oh my goodness, it is. It looks like a 48S. Let me get in here a little bit closer. That is a 48S. We have a book filler. That is exciting. Very nice. So 3 finds on the box, and 1 fills my book. Of course, I stopped recording, and the coin right behind it is another 1948. Let's see if I got lucky and have 2 to choose from. Look at that. 2 1948S's. How about you? You look old, although you're a filly. 1953. Now, that is one I'm not sure if I need for a book filler, but there's a 50s. All right, now we're getting back into the shiny stuff. Yep, 2017. All right, I'll bring you back in if we find something else old in here. Pretty cool to get 3 back to back to back. So here we go. Again, not a bad hunt for just 10 rolls of customer wrap nickels. We did end up with a single buffalo nickel, which you can see I did nick a date, and it looks to be a 1914 under the scope. I do have my buffalo nickel book right here, and I did already check, and you can see I already have the 1914. So I'm going to check that one against the one I have in here and see if it's an upgrade. But I don't technically need it. It may be an upgrader. Now I do, and here's my really great big Whitman nickel book. And let's see here. I did say, what did I have? I had 2 43s. Sorry, 48s. So let's get in here. 1948. You can see I needed me a 1948S. So we will be filling that hole. And the 53P I already had. Where was that? 52, 53P. And I'll check to see if that's an upgrader. It actually may be an upgrade. So we'll check that and see see if it belongs in this book. So I think we're going to save the pennies for last. I'm going to go ahead and get into this rubber band full of 10 wraps of quarters, only because they were from the same bank that the rest of that change came from. So we'll do those, and we'll end with the big full box of quarters. So let's jump into these and see what we have. We just wrapped up roll number 5, and it actually produced 2 Bicentennial Denvers. I've checked them for the DDO, and unfortunately they didn't have it. That's one of the double dies I have never found, but I love my Bicentennials, and we will hang on to those. Well, we made it through all 10 rolls of those customer wrapped quarters, and we only ended up with 4 Bicentennials. We had 1 filly, and we had 3 Denvers. And the Denvers were checked for the DDO, and none was found. So rather than get into this box, let me back up a little bit. Rather than get into this box straight away of quarters, I'm going to switch gears, and we're going to do these pennies, because like I said, for the last set of quarters, they came from the same bank, and they were all customer wrapped. So let me get through these pennies, and then we'll end the hunt with a full $500 box hunt. So a roll of pennies, and I've covered this in a previous video, should weigh about 126 grams, give or take, in the wrap. And this very first roll I have is 122.9. which tells me we're probably light a couple of pennies, or maybe we have a dime or two stuffed in here. So this could be an interesting roll. The rest of these I've ordered in the order of weight from lightest to heaviest. And you can even see this first roll, we're at 128.7. And in the document I have in the description down below, I've got included a little table to show you based on the weight, you can kind of guess how many coppers are going to be in here. And at 128.7, we're probably thinking around 4. And if I go all the way to the end, our heaviest roll is 132 grams, which means we should have about 10 copper pennies. I may have said wheat pennies a second ago. I meant to say copper pennies. So that'll give you an idea that, we're probably light a few to anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to all the way up to about 10 copper pennies. And let's hope there's some nice Wheaties in there. Let's get into these rolls. So for this first roll, as expected, we were 2 whole pennies light, but we did end up getting a 1978 Denver and actually a pretty decent looking 1979 Philly out of the box. So I'll take it. 2 coppers on that first roll, but we are down 2 cents. So we are on roll number 4, and I just came across our first foreign. It is Canadian. Let me zoom in here a little bit. It is Canadian. And I don't know a whole lot about Canadian money. It has got some tarnish on it, some green nastiness. But most likely copper. And it looks like it's some kind of bicentennial. I think this is called the, if I recall, something like the Flying Dove cent. Canada, 1867 to 1967. I'm going to have to do a little bit of eBay research on this one. I don't think I've ever found this particular Canadian before. It is not in the best shape. You can see we got ring dings and it's got tarnish and stuff on it, but that is a pretty cool find. I'm going to put that up on the board here. What I've been doing is lining up my coppers, and as I told you guys, I went from my lowest roll, weighted roll, to my highest, so we should see the copper grow as we do these stacks. And I did find one 2009 formative years. That may fill my book. So, yeah, it's been good. This has been fun. I think we'll probably have 1 or 2 more coppers in this, maybe 3. We'll see. Well, it took us 8 rolls in, and we finally came across, at the very end of the 8th roll, our first wheat penny. We have a 1946 that's got some tarnish or gunk, or I don't know what that is. Not a great looking wheat penny, but it's copper and it's a wheat penny, so I'll take it. And look at our little stack. As I said, they get heavier and heavier, so the copper is going to grow and grow. So we are done with our penny hunt. We did end up with a couple of book fillers. Let's take a look at those first here. That one I think goes here. So we ended up with some book fillers. So we were able to upgrade our 2004. This was the original. Not great. The replacement's not great either, but it's better. So that one's going to go in there. We did upgrade this 2006 as well. That's what I originally had in there. We found something a little bit nicer along the way. I know I've found lots of these in the past, and I actually have some bank-wrapped rolls of these, but I'm trying to only put pennies in this book that are found during coin roll hunts. And this is an awful 2008D, but that was a hole that was empty. So that was all of our fills for the book. I did have that one wheat penny. Where did I put it? Maybe right here. We did have one wheat penny, and it was a 1946, and I already had that one. Outside of that, honestly, the coolest find, I think, of the 10 rolls was this Flying Dove Canadian penny. Looks like some sort of bicentennial Canadian penny. I thought it was really, really cool. We did end up with like 63 or 64 coppers. That works out to about $1.85 in copper value. So not a bad little haul for 10 rolls of pennies. So now we are going to wrap up this hunt with this huge $500 box full of customer wrapped quarters. And keep in mind, 390 of this a little old lady dropped off. So who knows what's going to be in these rolls. So I pulled out the top 10 rolls. I weighed them, and everything that weighed normal I kind of have over here on the left. Everything that was a little bit heavy, so 227.5 grams is about normal. These were all 228 and up, so they could be extra quarters. There could be some silver, some foreigns, or something in there. So we'll get into those and I'll bring you in for those. But I'm going through just the ones that weigh right, and I'm on the second roll of the box, and look what we found. We found us a 2020 W, because we can see over there on the left that little V75 privy. Let's check out, what do we have? We have a national park. It's the Bat Quarter, the 2020 W. We'll take it. So these are rolls 8, 9, and 10, and they weighed a little bit heavy, so I figured we'd do these on camera. So 227.5 is 227.7, what I was seeing before. So these are about a gram heavy. Just in case there's silver in here, or maybe some foreigns or something, we can take a look at those together. If I can get these to come out nice and even. There's been some really, really pretty quarters in here, and I've had lots of 2019s and 2020s. We did just have that one W so far, and I do have one other Bicentennial that we did find. So no silver in that one. Nothing looks out of place. I'll hunt that for W's off camera. Nope, nothing in there either. And here's roll number 10. Let's see, what did this one weigh? I'll say this one was like 228.5 as well. 229 actually, that rolled off. This one's quite a bit heavier, so this one's a little bit interesting. Let's see. I wonder what would make these things. Uh-oh. I do see something thick and silvery in there, and I can't hold this roll together, so let's do it like this. I don't think that's a silver quarter. It's just too thick to be. Let me check these that fell out of the way here. Sorry I made a mess with that. It just sort of fell out. So nothing in there. See what we have. All right, yeah, we have a Canadian. This is a 2007 Canadian piece. And I don't think this is made of silver. This is probably all nickel. Oh, well, that's probably why it was heavier. Can't remember how much a quarter weighs. That coin weighs 6.5 grams. A quarter weighs 5.6. So there's our extra weight. Oh, well, not silver, but first 4 out of the box. We'll take it. We're on roll 13, and we found our first little issue with a roll, which is not uncommon in customer wrapped rolls, but we ended up with a nickel stuffed in our quarters. 1996, it looks like. It's not even a very nice nickel, but it's a nickel. Well, that's too bad. Hopefully there's a W in here to make up for it. We're on the same roll that we had the nickel on, and we found our first state quarter error. This is the 2008 Arizona, and you can actually see it. We don't need to put it under the scope. I think you can see this just with the camera. But we have that extra cactus error. You can see down here where the initials are. We have a die chip covering up those initials. So this is our first error of the box, and it's actually a decent looking quarter. Not a bad looking, what did I say? What year is it? It's a 2008. Not a bad looking quarter. We'll put it up as a find. I just laid out roll 21, and we've got something silvery in here. And again, it looks a little too good to be true. It's too silvery, and the reeds are really close together. I'm going to guess we have another Canadian. And we do. Now, it is a 1977, and I can't remember what year they stopped making Canadian quarters out of silver. So I'm going to pause the video right here and take a quick look on Google. So, yep, it looks like this is not silver. It is made, I think, of completely out of nickel. 1968. was the last year that they were 50% silver, and 1967 and earlier they were 80% silver. And if you can get all the way back to 1919, they were made of sterling silver. So this one's just nickel, but it is another Canadian, and we will put it up here as a find. Open up the very next roll, and I've already looked at it, but we had another really silvery quarter. Look at that. Can you guys see that on camera okay? It just, you can tell just from looking at it, it's now like one of the other Canadian quarters we had. 25 cents. Actually, this is Bahamian. Sorry, I thought it was going to be Canadian. Commonwealth of the Bahamas, 2007. Definitely not going to be made of silver, but now we have 3 foreigns on the box. This is pretty crazy. This is roll, I think, 29. And again, we have a super fat. I got really excited when I laid this out. Super fat silvery edge. It's too big to be a quarter, though. It is a Carl Gustav something. Konung. I don't know where this is from. Looks like it's 1 krona. Not sure where that's from. It is 2004, so again, I doubt it has any silver content. It's probably nickel or some sort of clad copper. But that looks like it's our 3rd country that we've gotten some foreigns from. I never get that many foreigns in a box of quarters. So anyway, at least it's interesting. Okay, so we finished getting through that box of quarters, and we have some interesting results. Not a lot of great finds, but interesting results. Maybe it's results for the whole hunt. But and I'll put up some video or a picture of a Homestead DDR that I found. This is probably one of the most common quarter DDRs that you can find. But I'll put some pictures up on the screen and kind of show you what it looks like next to a picture from Variety Vista. But we did have that state quarter DDR, and of course we had this. This is the Arizona 2008 Extra Cactus, and I'll put a picture under the scope of this one. I showed it to you kind of on the camera, but I'll show you a picture of it under the scope. We did have one W. It was the Bat W. I don't think I have many of these, so I'm kind of excited to get this. We have a little bit of gunk in here. I may try to get that off with some warm water or something. But for those of you that don't know, these W quarters, they're West Mint minted quarters. And they, they can go for $10, $15, $20, upwards of $30 on eBay. So finding W quarters is always a win. We did end up with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 bicentennials, which that's about, I usually average 10 to 20 bicentennials per box. The really interesting part of the box was that we were overstuffed with 6 nickels and 2 dimes ended up being in all those rolls of quarters. And it's even more interesting in just a second when I give you the statistics for when I actually counted everything up and re-rolled everything, where we landed on overstuffed versus understuffed rolls. We did end up with 2 Canadian quarters. They looked really silvery, got me really excited. Both of them are clad. Neither one of them were old enough to have any silver. We did have this really shiny 2007 Bahamian quarter. We also had this Konung quarter, I think. It's 2004. I have to assume this is from I don't know. It's 1 krona. I'm not sure where this is from, quite frankly, but I hang on to all my foreigns because I think it's pretty cool to find those. Unfortunately, they all looked like silver in the rolls, and none of them ended up being silver. To get to the full wrap-up, probably one of my favorite things that we found was this 1940 90% silver dime. You get up here a little closer to the camera. Always excited to find some silver, and this may be my first silver dime found coin roll hunting. I've gotten silver dimes out of Coinstar machines, but never out of coin rolls, and it was exciting to get it out of a customer wrapped roll. Always happy to get a buffalo. I wish it had been something new for my book, but it was another 1914, and always excited to see buffaloes. We did get 1 book filler and we had a 39 and a couple of 40s and 50s nickels in the hunt. Let me get these up a little higher so you can see them. So that was nice to get some book fillers. In the dimes that we did, and this is where we get into a little bit the over-under, we were actually overstuffed by 6 dimes. So we made 60 cents on the dimes, before we even get into the silver. So I was able to rewrap all of the dimes, have 10 rolls of dimes, and I had this extra here. So really we were overstuffed by 7. So we made 70 cents on it, you know, and one of those dimes happened to be a silver. In the pennies, my favorite find was that Flying Dove scent. It looks like a Bicentennial scent from Canada. Very excited to have that. Looking on eBay, I think there's a DDO on this, and in really good condition. This can be a really valuable coin. Mine's pretty beat up. It might be worth $1 or $2. It's something I'll probably put in a flip, though, because I think it's pretty cool that we found in a U.S. coin roll hunt. We did get one Wheatie in our pennies that we looked through. It's a 1946. Wasn't a book filler. We did end up with, I think ended up being like 62 coppers or something. I'll put how much the copper was worth on the screen. For 10 rolls, this isn't bad. On a full box of pennies, I usually average anywhere from 700 grams to about 1,100 grams of copper. But I'll put the statistics of how much this weighed on there and the price. I think I did it. I mentioned it earlier in the video, but I'll do it again as part of the wrap-up. And then, of course, the first set of quarters we went through, we didn't really find anything other than a couple of bicentennial quarters, which we can add up here. And I sell those by the roll on eBay. So all in all, it was a fun find. Apologies if this was a long video, but we hunted a lot of different denominations of change, and we were looking for a lot of different things. I guess before I get there, within the quarters, when I rolled up all of the quarters, all of this stuff ended up being extra. So I was exactly even on the quarters, so we made an additional 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 cents with just some random change stuffed into the quarter rolls. And I was even able to cover myself on the foreigns. So the foreigns were also extra stuffed. So I had a handful of quarter rolls that had too many quarters in them. So I made out. Usually when you customer wrap hunt, usually you don't make out. You end up finding a bunch of pennies and nickels in your quarter wraps, and they end up being short. So I made out this time. I thought it was pretty cool. So anyway, like I was saying, apologies if this was a bit of a long video, but I had a lot of fun hunting all this different change. We did find some silver. We found a W. I really couldn't ask for more. Well, that's not true. I was hoping to find a war nickel, but we didn't get there. Anyway, if you like this video, please consider heading down below. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you liked it or disliked it. Smash that like button if you don't mind, or if you hated it, smash that dislike button. It all works the same to me. If you're not already a subscriber of the channel, please consider smashing that subscribe button and click that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. You guys take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.